and welcome to Catalan News. Barcelona will not host the new seat of the European Medicines Agency. The Catalan capital was eliminated in the first round of votes. After being among the top candidates for months, the recent tensions between the Spanish and Catalan governments might have weakened the bid. This is what Spain's health minister said after the city's elimination. Meanwhile, the December 21st elections are approaching, and the latest polls published today show that the pro-independence parties would keep the majority, and Spain's ruling party would only get 5% of the votes. Here at Catalan News, we'll bring you the latest on the electoral campaign. Let's begin. Today, the first group of cities was eliminated in the run-up to be the host for the European Medicines Agency, and Barcelona was among them. The Catalan capital was one of the main bidders to substitute London after Brexit. Now, the debate on whether the latest political developments in Catalonia affected the candidacy is open. The new headquarters for the European agency will then be in Amsterdam.
Barcelona was eliminated in the first round of voting in a race to host the European Medicines Agency. After leaving London due to Brexit, the new headquarters for the agency will be located in Amsterdam. The vote to decide on a new site for the European Medicines Agency was made at a meeting in Brussels today, where a representative of each of the EU's 27 members voted in secret. The elimination of Barcelona in the first round will come as a severe blow for the Catalan capital, which was considered a strong candidate to win the bid to host the agency. Catalan President Carles Puigdemont, deposed by the Spanish government after the enforcement of Article 155 of the Spanish Constitution, was one of the first political leaders to react to the decision. He said that the enforcement of Article 155 has caused the imprisonment of Catalan leaders, forced part of the Catalan government into exile, and now aims to impoverish Catalonia. Yet the Spanish health minister insisted that her government had worked hard to bring a European agency to Barcelona and accused pro-independence leaders of not doing the same.
Que el gobierno de España ha remado con mucha fuerza y en la misma dirección. Quizás otros no han remado con esta misma fuerza y con esta misma dirección que teníamos que remar juntos.
Just before the decision became known, Barcelona's deputy mayor pointed out that the different administrations had worked well together on the bid.
Però jo el que voldria posar de relleu avui és precisament la manera en què les diferents administracions han treballat de manera conjunta per obtenir aquesta candidatura. S'ha fet una bona feina, des del punt de vista professional, s'ha treballat bé amb els centres de recerca, amb les universitats, amb la societat civil.
Until a few weeks ago, Barcelona was one of the favourites to host the EMA, but the increasing political clash of wills between Catalonia and Spain in the past few weeks may have weakened the city's bid. Indeed, the spokesperson of Esquerra Republicana, one of the parties in the Catalan executive, blamed the Spanish government.
Sobre l'agència, destacar la bona feina que es va fer des del departament, les bones expectatives que hi havia en aquell moment, lamentar que aquesta feina no s'hagi pogut portar fins al final per l'aplicació del 155.
One of the strengths of Barcelona's candidacy was the suggestion that the EMA might be hosted in the Torre Glorias, formerly known as Torre Agbar, one of the most iconic buildings in the city.
The next vote that Catalonia is looking forward to will happen with the December 21st elections. The results are unclear, as it is yet unknown whether Carles Puigdemont will be able to campaign in Catalonia, and whether the 8 ministers held in custody will be released before the vote. 2 of them, Jordi Turull and Josep Rull, asked to be freed today, alleging that they accept Madrid's measures against Catalonia's self-rule. Meanwhile, predictions for the election results are starting to be made.
More polls are appearing as the December 21st election approaches. The latest, published today by El Periódico newspaper, suggests that there could be a record turnout, with up to 87% of citizens voting. Turnout was around 75% 2 years ago, which itself was a record for a Catalan election. The all-time highest turnout in Catalonia was 83% in the 1977 general election, the first ballot after 40 years of fascist dictatorship. The Periódico poll also suggests that the pro-independence parties would hold on to a slim majority in the Catalan parliament, with jailed Vice President Oriol Junqueras' Esquerra Republicana party winning. Catalan President Carles Puigdemont would fight the Socialists and Ciutadans for second place. Yet the poll also suggests that the public would prefer Puigdemont as president. The Socialist candidate, Miquel Iceta, would be the second option for Catalans, with Junqueras coming third, ahead of Ciutadans leader Inés Arrimadas and the other candidates. The poll puts the People's Party coming last, with only 5% of voters supporting the Catalan branch of the party that suspended Catalonia's self-government. Nevertheless, the People's Party continues to campaign by opposing independence.
Lo peor que le podría pasar a la sociedad catalana y, por tanto, a la seguridad de las pensiones de nuestro país es que el día 21 de diciembre, el resultado de las elecciones, arrojase más incertidumbre aún en la línea de lo que hemos vivido en los últimos meses.
Also today, the Socialists were the first party to present their manifesto. Their proposals include calling for a federal-style funding system for Catalonia. Meanwhile, an Esquerra spokesman said that a vote for his party is a vote against repression and direct rule of the country. He also supported party official Marta Rovira's remarks last week. She said that independence had not been implemented because Spain had threatened serious violence on the streets.
The situation in Catalonia and the incarceration of ministers is not only discussed here, though. Some members of the European Parliament across the political spectrum have told us that they condemn Spain for having political prisoners. Most of them have said that what is needed is dialogue, not putting people behind bars.
I think that at the end the solution must be found on political field, not in prison, and for sure this is not a usual campaign if political leaders are in prison or outside your country. This is not only a decision of politicians, this is a decision of people.
Espero que sean prontamente libertados, que la cuestión se arregle por la vía negocial y no con este tipo de medidas que desgracian el nombre de España.
Imprisonment is not a solution. We have to find another solution. Political dialogue is a solution. I understand that was mistakes from both sides. I understand that this is, for somebody, it's just a legal issue. But this is not just a legal issue. It's a political issue.
Yo la veo como inaceptable. No lo creo que sea posible pensarmos en un país de la Unión Europea donde tenemos presos políticos en una era democrática.
I feel sorry and I regret the fact that people are in prison for their political activities and views, which shouldn't be the case in a democratic society. I don't think to keep them in prison is of 21st century.
I personally think it's certainly a bad idea. It's a bad precedent, and I don't think it can easily in any way contribute to a reasonable political solution.
I'm of the opinion that not imprisonment, not threatening should be a solution.
Jailing people of the civil society for having an opinion, a political opinion, and expressing that opinion, organizing demonstrations, that can never be a criminal fact.
One of the people who had an active role in the imprisonment of the Catalan ministers, the Spanish Attorney General, passed away unexpectedly this weekend. José Manuel Maza was one of the more prominent names in Spain's response to Catalonia's push for independence. In fact, 3 days after the Declaration of Independence on October 30th, he filed lawsuits for 20 members of the government and Parliament Bureau. He accused them of rebellion, sedition, and misuse of public funds, and asked for prison for most of them as precautionary measures. It is yet unknown whether his death will change anything in the case against Puigdemont and the ministers. And now, let's move on to a different topic: culture, science, and space travel. A group of students from a Barcelona university are working to push the limits of what is possible, and they're set to launch their own 6-meter supersonic engine rocket by 2020. If they succeed, it could open doors to academic work in the fields of meteorology, electronics, and microgravity research.
Space, the final frontier, constantly pushing us to new innovations, like right here in Barcelona, where a group of 20 or so students from the Polytechnic University of Catalonia are set to launch their own rocket. The aim of Cosmic Research Team is to get to the Kármán line at 100 km above sea level, essentially where space begins. If they reach their goal, the students will be making history, breaking the height records with the first rocket designed and built entirely in a university setting. But they also hope that their ballistic project will have a social impact. Their build plans are open source, and they want to inspire more people to gaze upwards.
Ara mateix l'espai és És un lloc on només han arribat alguns governs i algunes empreses privades, i volem trencar aquesta barrera i fer que l'espai també pugui ser un lloc on podem accedir als estudiants.
The project is 2 years in the making, with the final countdown expected to take place in 2020. The Cosmic Research Team has already carried out test launches with smaller rockets. One, called the Resnik, managed to reach 2 kilometers above sea level. In 2018, they also plan to launch the Bonda prototype, hoping to reach 15 kilometers in altitude. Both rockets have been named after female astronauts.
And today, we've got some more good news coming from the Catalan higher education centers. The Catalan public universities make 15.7 million euros in revenue every day. That works out as a return of 402 euros of GDP for every 100 euros spent on Catalonia's public universities. The figures come from a study by the Catalan Association of Public Universities. The report also says that the higher education centers have had a positive socio-economic impact in recent years. Yet it also claims that there is plenty of room to improve in terms of entrepreneurship. Today is the 42nd anniversary of dictator Francisco Franco's death. He ruled Spain for almost 40 years after a military uprising led by himself and other generals, which then led to the civil war that followed for 3 years. 80 years later, remains of bodies are still being found. Archaeologists have found more than 30 corpses of soldiers in a cemetery in western Catalonia. This excavation is the last one scheduled for now, as the Spanish takeover of Catalonia has paralyzed programs involving historical memory, such as exhuming mass graves. Spain is the second country in the world with the most mass graves after Cambodia. In fact, one of the bloodiest and longest battles in the whole civil war took place 79 years ago, almost exactly to the day, in the Catalan town of Flix. And for the 4th time, this town is taking it upon itself to tackle this event through a historical reenactment of the Battle of the Ebro. But it's not just for leisure. The event includes conferences, projections, there's even a role to play for civilians. That's all for our show today. But before we go, we leave you with some images of a concert at the famous Catalan concert hall, the Auditori, directed by Antoni Rosmarbà and performed by Barcelona Symphony and Catalonian National Orchestra. This in honor of the director's 80th birthday. Enjoy, and see you tomorrow.